Well, we're down to Module 11 and we're going to look at how to promote and market your book. And the big question is, whose job is marketing your book? And the answer is you. It's your job. It's my job to market my books. I've been holding up my new book now in every module telling you to buy this book. The reason is because the author is the one who must market the book. Oh, sure, the publisher will run ads and things like that, but it's the author. Think about it for a second. It's the author that has to make the book tour. Doesn't matter how. You know, when Sean Hannity or some famous person writes a book, they have to get out and meet the public and sign the books at the book signings, and they're the ones that have to market the book. So even if a traditional publisher publishes it, even if they pay you tens of thousands or millions of dollars in advanced royalties, you still have to publish the book because that's the author's job. And if that bothers you, then maybe authoring and writing books for a living isn't exactly what God calls you to do. But understand that Alice and I have to market our books, and we do that continually. When you write a book, you've just opened a new business. At least that's the way I see it. It's a new business or a new profit center. When this book came out this week and we begin to sell it, it will make a profit or it won't make a profit. It will be successful or it won't be successful. People will either buy it or they'll ignore it. And so it's almost like each one of our books is a different business that we've launched. And we have to make it successful and look for ways to make it successful. Each book we write is another business that we manage and promote. You are more than an author. You are a marketing company. Even big name, big selling authors must make book tours, as I said. Many writers and aspiring authors think if their book is published by a traditional publishing company, they can relax and watch the sales miraculously happen, but that's not so. And no matter who publishes your book, you must absolutely take a full active role in marketing, promoting, and selling your book. Publishers don't always know how to sell books, as I've said before. You might actually sell more books than your publisher will sell. That's actually happened to us before. We've had publishers that have published our books, and we've sold more books than they have. So that can happen. The best value of having a known publisher publish your book is that it helps establish your credibility. It, in some ways, develops prestige and sometimes offers name recognition. Too busy to market your book? Well, who isn't? We all are. But it's another task beyond the writing the book that the authors typically don't understand and are in some cases not willing to pursue, and it can be overwhelming. Unless you're quite well known, marketing must be a constant way of life for you. No matter how important or helpful or how well written your book is, no one will be able to read it if it doesn't get the marketing right. So don't forget creative marketing. I'm going to give you some ideas here about your book. You may want your book to be available in commercial bookstores. Well, I want you just to skip over page 55. You can come back later and look at it. And look at page 56, Promoting and Marketing Your Book, 25 Ways. I just want to run through these 25 ways with you. I think it will get the juices flowing and get you some traction. Number one is the news release. Send out a news release. 98% of all media exposure begins with a simple, well-written news release. Press releases require certain skill. They are created with a certain angle or a hook. For example, dog bites man is not news. Man bites dog, that is news. So that's the way news releases work. This week, I contacted one of my publishers and I said to him, have you overlooked, talking to the marketing department, I said, have you overlooked the fact that Alice has a book that came out this week called Spiritual Intimacy with God, and I had a book that came out this week called Making Sense of Spiritual Warfare. How many times in the life of Christian people does a husband and wife have two brand new books coming out on the same week? To me, that requires a news release that ought to go out to the publishers and ought to appear in some of these magazines that go to the Christian booksellers and to the Christian bookstores when they realize that this husband and wife have two new books that came out the same week. To me, that's newsworthy, and that's what you need when you write a news release. I've given you some places there that will help you with a news release. You can get free news release service there, and you can also get paid news release service. Get a book distributor. Contact the intermediate distribution. They'll market your book for a 30% commission. It's imprbooks.com, And my friend Larry Davis and John McHatton operate that company. And they're also developing a publishing company. And I'm going to recommend them too in that regard. But these guys know what they're doing in terms of distributing books. How many names do you have with email addresses? Probably very few. You may be like me, you may have more than average. I think I've got about 20,000. These guys have more than 1 million names and email addresses, and that's how they distribute these books. So you get them to put your books on their book site. Go to their book site and look at the books that are there. On their book site, and every time somebody goes there and buys one, you get 30% commission, which is really good. Local library talk. Talk to your local library. It may be that they'll let you come give a talk there, especially if you offer to donate 10% of what you sell to the library. Create a contest. Want to drive more attention to your book? Create a contest. Everybody loves contests. Design one around your topic. Offer a free autographed book for the person who submits the best 3 reasons. Or simply have a place where people can drop their business card for a drawing. But I have a book called Making Sense of Spiritual Warfare. What if I tell people in my 22,000 email list, for the best answer to what is spiritual warfare, I will give a free copy of the book. Well, people will start submitting their answers to the question, and one of them is going to get a book, but all of them are now going to be interested in the book. And now when I tell them who won the book and tell them about the book, it's just a new way to interest them in it and get them on the same page and in step with me, so they'll want to buy the book to find out what I have said about that subject. Local radio or television interviews. Pick your local radio station or TV station. Call ahead and ask the name of any talk show producers. You may have heard about the man that was the psychic, and he called the radio station and he said, "Do you have any talk show producers that I could talk to?" And the lady said, "I don't know, you tell me." You know, psychic, you ought to know. So you're not going to do that. You're going to call and ask them if they have any producers. And if they do, speak to the producer and ask them if they would allow you to come on for an interview and talk to you about your book. Website. Get a website in your book's name. Maybe your book's name is Serving Christ Overseas. Try getting ServingChristOverseas.com. You can do that. The best place almost to do it is at GoDaddy.com. They have inexpensive, about $6 a year. It'll cost you to have your website registered there. GoDaddy.com. For a free option, go to www.20megsfree.com. Now, this is really an interesting place because they do this free and recoup their costs by placing ads on your site. However, if you pay them $5, that's not per month, that's $5. If you pay them $5, they will not put any ads on your site. And you'll have a website for a year free, and didn't cost you a dime, and up to 20 megs of space. And for the $5, they won't put any ads on there. So it'll look just like anybody else's website. Get a free blog. You can do that at blogger.com. Anybody can do that. Go to faithwriters.com and check out some of the things they offer. Number 8, online PayPal shopping cart. Go to PayPal. At PayPal, I have a shopping cart. I can put my books there. I've set up an account with PayPal so that if I want to sell you something, I can send you there. You can order it and pay there with a credit card, and it ends up going into my bank account. You can do the same thing. Number 9, a complete system for online marketing. Set up your own list building shopping cart autoresponder. The system I use is that one there. But what you do there is you pay like $19 or $20 a month. I don't really know what I pay for that, but it's something like that. And they offer me a shopping cart. I have an autoresponder, and I have a list. They take care of my list, so I can send out. You know, if you send out with my mail service with CompuServe, if I send more than 50 emails out at a time, I'll lose my service because it's called bulk mail, and they don't allow that. Well, with this system, I can send out 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, 1 million. It doesn't matter. Create your own e-zine, your own electronic magazine. You can do weekly, bi-monthly, or monthly. You say, well, how do you do that? Begin with your family and your close friends' email addresses and put in there, please forward this to a friend, and tell them how to subscribe. Create a squeeze page. Now, I can tell you about a squeeze page, but the easier thing for me to do is to show you. If you go to teachmetopray.com. That's a website that I have. And you'll find there a squeeze page. A squeeze page is simply this. It's a web page with nothing but one choice. Do you want this or don't you want this? And it's free. So when you go to teachmetopray.com, I'm offering you a 52-week school of prayer. That's right, a lesson every week. 52-week school of prayer. And I'm offering you a bonus. If you sign up right now, you'll get 138 ways to mobilize prayer in an ebook format that you can download. So in 5 minutes, you can be reading 138 ways to mobilize prayer, and in about 10 minutes, you can be reading your first lesson of 52 lessons that will come one a week for the next year. All I need is your first name and your email address. Well, here's what happens. When you put your first name and email address in there, you go to my autoresponder, which I mentioned in number 9. You go to my autoresponder, and my autoresponder now will automatically respond. It will send you a welcome to the School of Prayer. It'll send you, here's your first lesson to the School of Prayer. In 7 days, it'll send you, here's your second lesson to the School of Prayer. And in 7 more days, 14 days in, it'll send you your third lesson to the School of Prayer. So every 7 days, it's going to send you a new lesson to your School of Prayer. And it all is done automatically. It's a totally passive system. So when you create your squeeze page, your goal is to get a name and an email address. You see, I would rather get a name and an email address and give them something free than sell them a book. Why? Because if I have their name and email address, I can sell them many books over the coming months and years. If I sell them a book, that's one sale and that's the end of that. So right now, I have about 12,000 people in my School of Prayer that have gone there, signed up for it, get the weekly lessons, and they also get ads for the books that we write. And that's where the sales of our books, many of our sales of our books come from, because I give away. You see, that is a new type of marketing, a marketing where you give them something so they will buy something from you. I love it because it gives you an opportunity to be generous. When you bought this course, I gave you the data disc, and on there is 1,000 pages of more study about how to write effective sales copy and other things. Now the capture page, I call it a squeeze page because it squeezes you down to one choice, and that is yes or no, do you want this? There are no references to my ministry. There are no pictures of Alice and me. It doesn't take you to our main website, which is eddieandalice.com. It doesn't take you there. It doesn't take you to prayerbookstore.com, which is us. But it's just one thing. Do you want to be in this School of Prayer or not? It's a one-choice thing. When you sell two things, you sell nothing. When you sell one thing, you're selling something. So you want to keep that focus. So go look at our squeeze page at teachmetopray.com, and then go to zezweb.com, Z-E-Z web, W-E-B.com, and you can create your own free right there. By the way, I didn't create mine free. I paid a lot of money for it. So go there and do yours free. Had I known about it, I'd have done it that way. Managing your mail and email list. If you don't want to take advantage of number 9, number 12 will tell you how to manage up to 1,000 emails in your list free. So if you've got up to 1,000 emails and you want to send e-zines to them, ads for your books, communicate with them with bulk mail, go to yourmailinglistprovider.com, and for free you can keep track of a list up to 1,000 members. Beyond that, it's quite inexpensive. In fact, I believe it's like $3.95, goes up to like 100,000. So it's incredibly inexpensive to use this service to send out your ads or send out your e-zine. And by the way, it does text and HTML. Now what does that mean? Well, a text email message is just what I said. It's text, it's type. An HTML email is one with pictures and colors and graphics and things like that. This enables you to do both for free and have up to 1,000 people in your list. Do you know that email marketing specialists tell you that you should, if you understand rightly how to use email, make $1 per name on your list per month? So if you have 1,000 names on your list, you should be able to make $1,000 a month if you know how to use it properly. So that's the importance. One of the slogans in marketing is the money's in the list. And the truth is the list is everything. because it's the way to contact the customer. Submit your website to the search engines. Right there is a way that you can submit your website to the search engines like Google, AltaVista, and others, and it's free. Request magazine and book reviews. Send a copy of your new book and a cover letter to magazines and ask them if they will do a book review. Now make sure it's a magazine that's about the book that you wrote, the same kind of topic. And so right now, I'm not doing it because this was published by Bethany House, which is a wonderful traditional publishing company. But they have already sent this book with cover letters out to many Christian magazines and asking them, would you please do a book review on this book? When your book goes onto Amazon.com, and why not put it there and make it available there? That's the biggest bookstore in the world. When somebody buys your book, ask them to go there and put a review on there for you so that you get a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 5-star, and whatever. And people read those reviews and many times buy the books because of the reviews. Get your mother to write a book review about your book. Nobody knows she's your mother, and she may persuade somebody to get your book. Number 15, print magazine articles. Reduce or rewrite the strongest chapters of your book into a magazine article, 800 to 1,200 words. Sometimes you'll see, perhaps you've seen, an article by Alice or me in a major magazine. When you see that, understand that if the article came from one of our books, we didn't get paid for it. But that's okay because it promotes our book. If the article is written specially for that magazine, we got between $50 to $400, usually $300 or $400 for an 8 to 1,200 word article. So it is worthwhile to check into writing articles. Don't expect to pay for an article that's lifted from your published book, get paid for an article that gets lifted from your book, because you're not going to get paid for it because they consider it advertising your book. Number 16, online article marketing. Now this is something that I'm not sure I can communicate right here very well, but I'm preparing another course about article marketing, because article marketing is one of the most respected and most effective ways of selling books and materials and doing anything online in terms of marketing. But article marketing is where you write an article and you submit it to an article directory, and there are thousands of them on the internet, and e-zine producers or editors looking for articles for their e-zines, and even magazine people that edit magazines, I mean hard copy magazines, magazine editors will go to these article distribution sites, and they will type in prayer, and all of a sudden my article shows up. And they like it. They like the title, they like the article, and they take it and they put it in their magazine or in their e-zine. Well, the question is, what do I get out of it? Well, at the bottom of the article, it's called the SIG file, S-I-G, signature file. Another name for it is the Johnson box. Back around the turn of the 20th century, in the early 1900s, there was a marketer named Johnson in New York City, and he developed this, and people began to do it, and they called it the Johnson box. But if you look at the bottom of the article in the magazine, it'll say, Eddie Smith and his wife Alice live in Houston, Texas. They are considered by many America's prayer coaches. You can contact them at www.eddieandalice.com. That's the Johnson box. Why is that important? Because people read the article, they like the article, and they go to our website and they buy our books. So we gladly give them the article. That's called article marketing. And I will tell you this. You can buy software that will distribute your article to many article depositories. In other words, it may send it to 1,000 article depositories. But the truth is, all those depositories are not necessarily effective. There are about 10 that are, and I would say 99% of the articles that people actually use in e-zines and magazines, they get from these 10 sites. And I put some of them there for you. I'll have to find them for you. I don't see them right where I thought they should be. But the way to make them work, by the way, when they search for them is this. Use a keyword in the title of your article. So if the article is about prayer, I want to use the word prayer in the title of my article. And it's best even if it's the first word in the title. So prayer, God, prayer, mankind touching God, or something like that. the search engines will find that quickly because prayer is the first word in that title. Then in the first paragraph of the article, you want to mention prayer, if it's the key word, mention it 2 or 3 times there. And you want to mention it 4 or 5 or 6 times later in the article. And when you do that, and somebody that's got a prayer magazine types in the word prayer, your article will pop right to the top of all the articles because you knew how to write it and use those keywords effectively. Not a book signing. People ask me about book signings, and I tell them I don't do book signings anymore. I do mini seminars. A mini seminar is really a book signing, but it's with a different slant. And the way it works is this. You go to the Christian bookstore in your neighborhood, and you tell them, I'd like to do a mini seminar, 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. You pick the date, I'll come teach the seminar, and I will promote my new book, Making Sense of Spiritual Warfare. Well, the bookstore wants to do that because they want clientele. They want to get people into their store. And they also know that with reciprocal marketing, that's where you give something to get something. Like you give the article so you'll sell the book. Well, they'll give the seminar so people will come and buy the book. And so they put it in their advertising in the newspaper, on the radio. And this Saturday, we've got one of America's wonderful authors who's written a book, Making Sense of Spiritual Warfare. Eddie Smith will be teaching a mini seminar at so-and-so bookstore. That's okay. They're unbreakable. That's the good thing about paperback books. And so be there. Don't miss this seminar. Well, the seminar is a 45-minute seminar. So the bookstore, the mom and pop bookstore, they set it up. They have some donuts and coffee. They've got 25 to 50 chairs in a circle. They've got a place for me to sit. I come out with my books. I show them my books. I have them on a table there. And I talk to them for 45 minutes. Part of the time might just be answering their questions. And then I invite them to buy the book. And they buy the books. That's a book signing, but it's more than a book signing. It's a mini seminar. You're giving them the mini seminar so that you get a chance to sign the books. And as they buy the books, you sign them. And for some reason, they think the book's more important if the author signs it. I have discovered that when I sign the book, it's worth no more than it was before I signed it. But to some people, that's important. So keep that in mind. Thank you notes. Anytime anybody, store manager or anybody does anything to help you market your book, be sure and write them a thank you. Business cards. Business cards can be like wallet-sized billboards. I know a guy that every time he writes a book, he has a color business card produced, and the business card on one side is just exactly the cover of his book in color. And on the other side has the contact information of where he can get the book. And I gave you 3 places there that you can get color business cards printed online. Bookmarks and postcards, that's something that Alice and I use. Usually when our books come out, we've got postcards and full color bookmarks, and they have a picture of our book, and we offer the bookmarks and the postcards free because they help us promote the books. Amazon and eBay. List your book on Amazon.com. List your book on eBay. But I must warn you that to get them on Amazon and on eBay, you're going to require an ISBN number, so don't skip that step because that's a requirement. Advertising and marketing professionals will tell you the key to sales is repetition. Some people say you have to see it 7 times before you'll actually buy it. Your email SIG file, remember, at the bottom where you've got your name and your address at the end of your email, every email you send out, just below your name. If you get an email from me today, you will find where I have my name at the bottom. It'll say Blessings, Eddie, and below there is my SIG file, and it says my latest book can be found here. And when you click on it, it'll take them right to my latest book. And so every time I write an email, I'm advertising my book. Ongoing endorsements and recommendations. Again, ask your friends to go to Amazon and put an endorsement there for you. Sell your books at seminars and conferences. Did you know that when a seminar or a conference comes into your city, if it's a seminar or conference that's compatible with what you've written, you can go to that seminar host and you can talk to them about having your book on their table. And sometimes they're just gracious and they say, put it out there, be fine. And you put your book on their table and they sell your book and you get the profit from it. Sometimes they will ask you to give them 10 or 15% of the profit for the privilege of putting it there. Well, that's fine. They have an expense. They've got to put tables up. They've got to pay somebody to sell the books. And so it's fine. So understand that when you go into into a big conference or seminar in a church and you see a lot of things for sale on the table, understand that that might be a place where your book can be sold. Your own newspaper column. Offer to produce a column for your local Christian newspaper or magazine. Most big cities, particularly today, have a Christian newspaper and a Christian magazine, and some of them are just looking for anybody who can write, who will offer to write a column. Well, if you offered to write a column, where would you get the material? Well, why not take the chapters of your book, put it in pieces, and send it out? Every Monday morning, I've got 12,000 people on the email list, and they get something called Insight from Eddie and Alice, and it's got a piece of one of our books in there. We're sharing them a piece at a time with the hopes that they'll buy the entire book, and they do. So keep that in mind. How to distribute your book: publishing on demand, traditional publishing, place it on your website as a downloadable ebook, create multimedia ebooks where you can put links to YouTube and GodTube videos. They're sitting there reading your book, and all of a sudden you click on here in that ebook and a screen pops up and you're talking to them. And they're watching you and listening to you. Those are multimedia ebooks, and they're very simple to do these days. Record the reading of your book, put it on CD, and now you've got another product. You've got an audio book. Auxiliary products. I was at a church in Louisiana recently and taught my this seminar there, and the pastor's wife was the cutest thing. She wore a ball cap the whole time with gold, sparkly gold stuff on it. It had the title, and I found out later that the title on the ball cap and the t-shirt that she had, some of the other women had, was the title of her book. She wrote a book for ladies, and she had ball caps, she had cups, coffee cups, she had ballpoint pens with the name of the book on it. She had all kinds of ways to promote her book. She had magnetic signs on the family car. When you drive up behind her on the freeway, you see the name of her book. Order it right now at www. It was amazing. She had all kinds of products and ways that she was promoting her book in that little town. How do you turn $15 into a $300 course or a $400 course? Oh, and bumper stickers. I forgot that. She had bumper stickers. It's called the sales funnel. And it looks something like this. You have an ebook that becomes an audio book, that becomes a printed book, that becomes a course with different lessons, that becomes personal coaching, where somebody is now paying you $300 a month to coach them. I have people that pay me $300 a month to coach them in getting their book finished. So you can go from writing a simple book on how to do this to teaching a class on how to do it, to actually coaching a person or coaching a group of people in a class where they're all paying you $300 a month. It's amazing what can happen when you're willing to take your brain, find material, put it in a useful fashion, in a format that people can use and want to use, that will benefit them and solve their problem, and how you can benefit from it. Some of you have wondered, how in the world could you ever retire, because you have no retirement in the world at all. And here's a way that you can put your intelligence to work and your love for writing to work, and you can begin to develop products and a career and a business that will be something that you can do when you finish working in the job that you now have. How ebooks and other self-publishers make #1 bestsellers. I've got some friends, every time they write an ebook or a published book, it becomes a #1 Amazon.com bestseller. And I'm going to tell you right here quickly how to do that. They find an internet-related, like-minded joint venture partner. What they do is they find about 10 people who are well-known on the internet who will be a joint venture partner with them, and they agree on a launch date. The launch date is going to be September the 15th. Then they create interest with email announcements about the book. Between now and September the 15th, which might be a month away, they're sending emails out saying, I've got a special announcement to make on September the 15th. I wish I could tell you about it. It's going to change your life. I can't tell you, but I'll just tell you, stay tuned. September the 15th, mark it on your calendar. Then it's in 10 days, I've got something I want to share with you. It's going to change. They get people's imagination piqued so that on September the 15th, when all of 10 of them, send out the announcement about your book to their entire mailing lists. They all begin to buy books at the same time. And then the smart ones come back 3 days later and send out a follow-up announcement to all those people. And 7 days after that, they send another. And 14 days after that, they send another. And they set it up on an autoresponder system so that a couple of months later, 6 months later, they send it. 2 years later, they send it. And they have established a marketing empire by taking advantage of joint venture partnerships with people who have large email lists and followings that can help promote their books. So that's the way that's done. And on the next module, it's not long, it's a short module, Module 12. You've been waiting for a short one. And I'm going to tell you about the future of publishing, so don't skip it, okay? Well, hi there. We're going to our last module now, Module 12, entitled The Future of Publishing. Where are we headed with all this? We've been studying this. We've seen how it works. We've seen how we can get involved with it. We've seen some of the advantages, some of the disadvantages. We see how we could use this to create a good second income or perhaps a full-time business. And yet, what does the future hold? Well, of course, I'm no fortune teller. I can't tell you exactly. But I want to explain just a couple of things that I think will be helpful to you. Number one, the rise of large Christian and secular chains and box stores, along with Amazon.com, has changed the way people buy books. It used to be when you wanted a Christian book, you just went down to the Christian bookstore at the corner, the mom and pop bookstore, and you bought one. Well, that's not true anymore because they're going out of business all over the country. There isn't a whole lot of profit for them to begin with. That never was a great money-making opportunity, you understand, a Christian bookstore. And most of the people that had them did them because it was a ministry to them. And I know because I've known many Christian bookstore owners, and I do know some Christian bookstore owners. And to them, if they didn't make money, they would pay money to do what they do because they like helping people. But the truth is, because of the internet and because of Amazon.com and because of Barnes & Noble and these other big box stores and secular chains and Walmart, as I said. Do you know when I go into Kroger where I buy my groceries in Houston, Texas, when I get to the middle of the store, there is a huge bookstore. It covers a great deal of space there. And they're selling books. They're selling Christian books. They're selling all kinds of books, actually, in the grocery store. While I'm buying squash, I can buy Purpose-Driven Life. It's amazing. So books are being sold in totally different ways today. So expect that. And then there is this. Authors like Frank Peretti, Bruce Wilkinson, Rick Warren, Joel Osteen, Beth Moore, Joyce Meyer, and books like the Left Behind series are changing the marketplace. Secular stores don't mind carrying Christian books now. It used to be something they wouldn't even talk about. I mean, you couldn't even get them interested in a Christian book. Today at the Barnes & Noble store near my house, I can tell you that in the past 5 years, the Christian bookstore part of that company has doubled several different times. In these large stores like Barnes & Noble, these Christian book content just continues to swell. As much as 1/3 to 1/2 of the books in a Walmart store are Christian bestsellers. So the future seems bright, at least for the bestsellers. And the darker the culture, the more light will be needed. So go write something, will you? And the more you write, the better you'll write. And the better you'll write, the more you'll enjoy writing. And when you begin to enjoy writing, it may be, as it has for me, become your job and your hobby all rolled into one. God bless you and thank you for watching.